Welcome back. You're watching Midcap Radar on CNBC-TV18. Now on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Sona BLW is the stock on our radar today. It has been recently in the news following the death of Chairman Sunjay Kapoor in the UK earlier this month. The board has announced changes with Jeffrey Mark overly appointed as the chairperson. My colleague Parikshit Luthra spoke to Vivek Vikram Singh, Managing Director at Sona Comstar, and began by asking him about how Sunjay Kapoor wanted to take the company forward.
His view was always plan for the next 25 years, plan for the next 25 years. He wasn't very into the short term of it. I mean, if you realize he's been a shareholder for so long, for him the longer term interest mattered far more than what typically your capital market investors ask, right? Capital market investors and you guys in the business press ask us questions mostly pertaining to 3 months to a year. His questions were more about 10 to 25. So that was the difference. Hopefully our new chairman, Jeff, who I've worked with for a long time, he too has that same mindset. So hopefully we can have a good working relationship.
You were a diversified company. You got into the railways business very recently, perhaps just about a few weeks before his death. 36 or 37% of your revenues come from electric vehicle components only. How did he want to diversify, enter new markets? Did he have a 10-year vision that he shared with you?
We used to make these 10-year plans of what is the next 10 year. So if you look at our journey in the last 10 years I've been in this company, 6 years I've run it, 4 years when Sanjay was MD, I was his CFO, then COO, head of strategy, did many roles at that time. 10 years we grew by looking west, adding new product verticals and getting into electric vehicles. These were the three things we did, and this is responsible for 90% of the growth delta. We've grown 10 times, 350 crore to over 3,500. The same strategy cannot work for the next decade because the world's shifting. Geopolitics is shifting, trends are shifting. So our new plan for the next 10 years, and it will be in our annual report, is this, that we actually ignored the East completely while we were looking west, which means we ignored actually India. We ignored China, Japan, Korea. So now the new strategy will be look west and east. We have to add many more new product verticals because the biggest delta actually came not from EV or West, it actually came from adding new products. We were a single product company 10 years ago, now we have dozens. We have to multiply that manifold again in the next 10 years. And third, apart from EV, we have to get into the other trends that are coming in the wider mobility area. So whether it be eVTOLs, humanoids, AV, autonomous vehicle, software, the increasing software content. So that in a nutshell is what we wrote down for our next 10 years. And it's just sad that you won't be able to read it, but it will be in our annual report this year.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. I would also like to ask you about who now takes over from Sanjay Kapoor. All the day-to-day management of the company is being handled by you, Vivek, and immediately after his demise, that is what the board had also said, that you will continue leading the company and handling all the day-to-day management. But as the role of chairman, Mark Overly now takes over. Compared to the kind of role Sanjay played, and Sanjay was very active in terms of industry bodies, representing Sona Comstar before the government, before the industry. What role will Mark Overly play now?
Jeff's role as a chairman of the board. So the chairman of the board has responsibilities, as you well know. But when it's a non-executive role in a 9-member board, it is limited to guiding the board towards better decisions. Their biggest job is to basically ensure management team continuity, whether we are doing succession planning, risk management, have oversight. That oversight role, I think Jeff is more than qualified to do. He's been on our board long enough to know all the ins and outs. That bit, I am not even concerned an iota. Running of the day-to-day, I'm not concerned an iota. Yes, I will have to take on some of his industry representation and government things that I may not be able to be as good as him because I'm not that personality. I'm not that extroverted. I'm not that outgoing. But there is no alternative.
Speaking about the role of Priya Sashdev Kapoor, she has been appointed as an additional director in the company. Could you tell us what will be her role in terms of day-to-day operations, in terms of contribution to the board and the company?
So, as you know, she's been appointed as a non-executive additional director. So, non-executive director, like all the other 7 now, we have 7 other directors apart from the 2 executive directors. It's similar. They are there to provide oversight. They are there to look at whether the company is on its right path. See, management has a lot of control on how things are done. But we too need our conviction tested by a board. We serve at the pleasure of the board. The board is supposed to represent the will of all the shareholders.
My final questions would be about the roadmap and some of the crisis points that the government, the industry is facing right now. One on the issue of the rare earth crisis. How badly is that impacting you right now?
So look, the rare earth crisis is real. It's present. It's been there since 8th April. 8th April is when the export controls came into effect. And till China actually releases this crisis, I don't know what the resolution is in the short term. In the medium term, government is planning certain measures. We are trying our best to support and advise the government in their initiative to do that. There is about 7 to 8% of our revenue that comes from traction motors. Portion of that will be impacted directly. Now, what will be the indirect impact, Parikshit, is the hardest to understand because let's say we supply a part which has no rare earth magnets to a company in India, to a passenger vehicle car maker in India. And that company needs a magnet for some other part because of which there is a production loss. That could be an indirect impact, but there is no way for us to estimate that impact as of today. As we roll forward, we see it. But Parikshit, again, I mean, in our industry, you've covered us long enough as an industry to know that every 6 months there is a new crisis.
So no production cuts? Are you looking at production cuts as a result of this crisis?
For our traction motor business, of course, there are production cuts. But for other things, the indirect bit, like I said, we have 0 estimates right now.
Well, a very interesting conversation there with the new management as far as Sona is concerned after the unfortunate demise of the previous chairman, Sunjay Kapoor. They've given the way forward and they continue to hold on to the targets that they've set. But